Don't leave me hanging. It's go time.
Welcome, friends, Romans, countrymen, to another Best of 3 series. This one is going to be played between Evil Genius's IdrA. He's the red Zerg here on the left side spawn of Metalopolis, a map all of you should be familiar with at this point in the game. And his opponent, Mr. WhiteRa. I've cast many games from him recently, actually, and you probably know him better as WhiteRa, but WhiteRa is his name and has been since release, as his sponsor, duckload.com, likes him to keep it that way. And I know that I only know about duckload.com because of WhiteRa and his silly name, so I'm sure that's how it is for most of you as well. But either way, he is an incredibly good Protoss player from Ukraine. This is a best of 3 series between two incredible, amazing players here. IdrA and WhiteRa both have tons of tournament wins to their names. IdrA won the King of the Beta tournament. He won MLGDC. WhiteRa recently won the Reddit Invitational. He won a Root Invitational as well. I believe Root Warzone was the name of it. He's won a lot of money already in 2011, actually. But this series is being played for the group stages, not for any money per se, actually for group points in the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. And the other players in this very group, you've already seen some of them: IdrA, WhiteRa, QXC, Tarson, Ace from South Korea, and Maro, the Terran turned Zerg. Some people call him the infested Terran because he did switch from Terran to Zerg. And I think that's pretty clever. But anyway, WhiteRa versus IdrA here on Metalopolis should be quite exciting. IdrA looks like he's going to take a hatch first. That is his go-to Zerg versus Protoss strategy. He found WhiteRa extremely quickly with his little scouting overlord. I'm not sure if WhiteRa actually saw it or not. He is going to send a probe over here. Since he scouted that close position, didn't see any creep, he's going to continue on into the cross positions and see what's going on over there. WhiteRa, I've actually cast most recently his play against Show, who is a very good Swedish Terran player, and against, who was it, Strelok, a very good Ukrainian Terran player. So I know a little bit about his PvT tendencies, don't know too much about his PvZ tendencies. We'll see what he actually musters up here. I know one popular strategy for Protoss versus Zerg recently has been getting 2 forges out very quickly, fast upgrades, and a mass tier 1 army, including a lot of sentries. So we'll see if WhiteRa actually goes for that. I don't know if that's more of a North American thing, or just, I don't know if he's going to even be aware of that strategy, or if he's got something else up his sleeve. Obviously, he is WhiteRa. He was at the top of the European ladder for a very long time. I'm sure he's got his PvZ locked down, but IdrA is just such a high-caliber player. He was in Code S of the GSL forever and ever. He played in every single GSL until this current one, where he announced he's moving back to the United States. And, I mean, he got to the semifinals in the last GSL he played in, only to be knocked off by Jinro from Team Liquid, another foreigner. So he is just crazy good. WhiteRa is crazy good. I cannot wait to see how this best of 3 actually comes out here. But both players are going to get a little bit of scouting information. It looks like WhiteRa is going to drop a second gateway right in the face of IdrA's scouting drone. He does not care to hide it at all. IdrA going to get a look around to the rest of the base. Actually going to move over here to the smoke, the visibility blockers. If you notice, I actually changed the visibility blockers here. I'll wait to see this drone die before I explain this to you. But check this out. Smoke now just completely engulfs this little area. So even this pylon right here isn't seeing anything outside of the smoke. Overlord full of roaches could be right here, and this pylon would not do any additional spotting unless IdrA actually chooses to land right there in the smoke. So as a result, check this out. WhiteRa doesn't actually have vision in this entire area. If IdrA were to bring overlords around the back here and just drop them right here, WhiteRa wouldn't even see it with this pylon placed here. So that's an interesting new change from Blizzard's most recent patch, where they added some ladder maps and changed around a couple of the old ones. 4th gate coming for WhiteRa, so I guess we know his strategy now. It is going to be a 4 gate off of 1 base. IdrA, on the other hand, has got a couple of hatches, now turning one of them into a lair, getting Zergling speed started. Only 6 minutes into this game, so looks like he is comfortable as can be, just droning up as hard as possible. Look at this harvester count. It is actually in WhiteRa's favor. That is due to Chrono Boost, but soon should be tipping in IdrA's favor by quite a lot. There we actually see it happen right before our eyes. 30 harvesters now against 28 for WhiteRa, and WhiteRa's moving now. He's got 3 zealots, he's got a couple of sentries, he's got a stalker, he's got a lot of gateways. Gateway number 4 coming online right now. He'll be able to warp in on this low ground as he just did with this sentry, so force field's going to be ready and waiting for when WhiteRa actually arrives at IdrA's base. Does IdrA have the Xel'Naga Tower? Yes, he does. He's also got this line of speedlings. They should probably be heading home at some point. He doesn't want to lose them here for no reason. Actually, he's just going to run right past IdrA's forces. Might even try to get into the main. Actually, no, I'm not sure what he's doing. Now he is going to try and do a little bit of a flank action maybe with these speedlings, but if they run right past these sentries, he's going to lose lings needlessly. This is kind of a strange tactic. I'm not sure what's going on here. But either way, IdrA should actually be probably pretty worried since one of his hatches will actually be shut off completely by force fields. WhiteRa only needs to drop one force field right here to cut off all reinforcements from that main hatch. Ooh, IdrA actually snagging a Zealot kill there, not bad at all. And WhiteRa's going to be able to power down the Spinecrawler very quickly. The Speedlings might be able to get another Zealot kill. No, not quite. Roaches coming now for IdrA. We got 3 on the low ground and a bunch more up on the high ground. They will be able to shoot at these Stalkers and Zealots streaming in from the side, but these force fields going down all over the place, giving WhiteRa a nice positional advantage. Once this force field is over, though, these sentries only have enough energy for maybe one more force field, and there it is. So IdrA will need to reinforce from this hatch. He's still got Roaches alive back here, doing very nice micro, keeping these guys alive. He needs to back up one more time. No, he does lose the Roach. I'm not sure why WhiteRa actually focused down that Overlord. IdrA, one of the best macro players there are, not going to be supply blocked by that. He builds way more Overlords than he needs. He actually sacrifices them in the later game as well. So once that force field ends, the huge number of Roaches from the main actually stream down this ramp, take out a couple of Stalkers even, and WhiteRa is forced to run back to his base. He did not take the time to expand, and that actually has been a fault of WhiteRa's for quite a while in different matchups. He'll do a big attack very early and not expand and gets behind pretty quickly. So now IdrA will start to do a counterattack, but this Nexus is prone, whereas if WhiteRa had actually expanded during the attack, the Nexus would be finished and he would be able to defend it a lot easier. So IdrA coming in here decides he doesn't actually want to tangle with this right now. WhiteRa has actually blocked his main completely with this pylon, so if he tries to run any probes back home, they will just turn into a traffic jam. So IdrA running into here with this Speedling is going to get a look at everything that's down here, which, to be honest, is not really a lot. There's just a forge down here. WhiteRa leaving IdrA alone now, and vice versa. Both players just macroing up now. IdrA has the worker advantage, 33 to 31. He's got the base advantage. He's got the income advantage. There you can see with minerals. Not with gas. He actually hasn't put workers on these second and third extractors yet, as they are still building. But back at home, IdrA hasn't really done a whole lot either. He's only getting Roach speed right now. He's not built a Hydralisk Den or a Spire or Infestation Pit. It's all Speedling Roach right now, and he's just droning up hard now that WhiteRa has been giving him some breathing room. IdrA is taking a third base even, and I don't believe WhiteRa has any plans to do that himself. He's actually getting a Stargate up now, so perhaps Phoenixes, perhaps Void Rays will be making their debut here in this first game of this best of 3. Cannon coming down, gonna block, help protect this Nexus. Actually not blocking anything, but check this out. It looks like WhiteRa actually did destroy a pylon over here to free up his probes, make sure they can actually come freely. And here's an Overseer from IdrA getting a look at everything. We'll just take his vision right now. He sees the Stargate coming in, but now these Stalkers are coming up the ramp. I don't think his Overseer is fast enough to actually get out of here, so he is going to lose a little bit of supply. There he goes. Splats down. Well, that's interesting. When you hold down vision on an Overseer and it dies, it takes you back to the lair. I actually had no idea that it did that. That's still learning things here all the way in March now, even though this game came out in July of last year. But Hydralisk Den coming up now for IdrA. He's going to be just fine against the Stargate. He probably built that as soon as he saw the Stargate warping in there. Robotics Facility now coming for WhiteRa as well. Is he going to get that Bay very quickly after it finishes? Who knows? Most likely yes. Phoenix, Colossi, and lots of Tier 1 units, including sentries, are now known as the Protoss Death Ball against Zerg players. But check this out. IdrA is a macro machine. 59 harvesters against 46 harvesters. He is so content to just hang back, build nothing but drones. He gets 1 or 2 roaches with every cycle that he makes 4 or 5 drones. Lots of overlords being built now as well. It means IdrA's probably getting ready to send in some more overlords soon for scouting purposes. WhiteRa is taking a third base at his logical third base location, not going for anything crazy, not going for this gold. IdrA actually has been in control of this Xel'Naga Tower the entire time. WhiteRa's vision is limited. His first Void Ray is out now. He's actually building a second one now and getting +1 weapons for his ground units, getting an Immortal out quite quickly as that Robotics Bay is coming up as well. Probably going to be getting a Colossus as soon as possible when that bay completes. WhiteRa coming over now, killing just a couple of lings, nothing too crazy going on. He's just going to float around, maybe look for some free Overlord kills. It looks like Overlord Speed was finished a while ago. Groove Spines coming now for those Hydralisks of IdrA. He's sending in lings all over the place to make sure IdrA's, or actually make sure WhiteRa is not expanding, and he does see that third expansion, just backs right back out of there. This WhiteRa did find some more prey. It looks like an Overlord went down there. And IdrA's content. He's still at 141 supply. He's not supply blocked. Everything's going well. I keep wanting to call WhiteRa IdrA for some reason. Their names are actually quite similar if you think about it. It's WhiteRa and IdrA, both very similar. Anyway, WhiteRa only at 102 supply. IdrA at 153 supply. If you look at the army value, they're still pretty close, but IdrA just has so many more units. Roaches, of course, being a huge chunk of those units. It looks like, ooh, actually for the first time, IdrA is supply blocked in any of these series that I've seen so far. 156 over 144. IdrA's starting to move now with this big old contingent of Hydralisks. He's spreading creep to make this into a lovely creep highway, as they like to call it. Look, the highway's already there. All you have to do is get some creep on it. And check out how big these Hydralisks are in comparison to this road. I always thought this was interesting. Hydralisks are really friggin' huge, but then again, maybe Terran cars are just really tiny. Who knows? Either way, this big ball of roaches and Hydralisk looks quite menacing. They have +1 armor upgrades already, and IdrA's getting +2 armor upgrades instead of ranged missile attacks there. WhiteRa coming out now for WhiteRa, extended thermal lances, air weapons level 1, and a Colossus. The entire gamut of Colossi and WhiteRa is coming out now. He's getting all the appropriate upgrades, but IdrA is on the move. He smells a weak point. He's at a max level army right now. WhiteRa is only at 129. I'm not sure what tab I want to have open during this huge fight. Look at this, 35 Roaches, 17 Hydras against an Immortal, 4 WhiteRas, and 1 Colossus. 6 Stalkers and 4 Sentries also in the mix. I'm going to put away all the tabs so we can watch this unfold. Roaches in the front, very good with his micro. More Roaches coming in from the left side here. These Hydralisks doing a ton of damage right now to these WhiteRas first and foremost. That Colossus explodes to Roach Fire. They can only focus things on the ground, obviously. So Hydralisks killing off the WhiteRas, Roaches killing off the Colossi. Another one pops out here. It's not going to matter. It goes down extremely quickly. IdrA with just this giant ball of Zerg units already reinforcing. Let's look at the production tab there at the end. 26 Lings and 6 Hydralisks. He's building the Lings, obviously, so they can get over there extremely quickly and help reinforce this army. The Hydralisks, of course, just in case more WhiteRas come out and he needs to replace them. And that was just a crazy game. WhiteRa gave IdrA way too much time, did not try to harass this third base at all, did not try to prevent him from expanding. IdrA even had a 4th hatchery up at the end of the game and a spire on the way, so he was well on his way to having everything in the Zerg arsenal, and WhiteRa just basically sat in his base, tried to get a good unit composition, and it just did not materialize for him fast enough. So now let's go into game 2 and see if WhiteRa can turn it around or if IdrA will take the series 2-0. In this Intel... oh my goodness, I'm getting tired, if you can't tell. Intel Extreme Masters World Championships.